Okay, today's recording, we're going to be talking about slope. Many times in math class, that word comes up, and many of you tend to be confused about what is slope? What does it mean? Okay, so I want to explain to you what slope means and how to determine the slope of a line. So slope simply means steepness. It just means how steep something is. That's what slope means, steepness. So if you wanted to just have a line here, this house, see that arch of the house there? So you would find the slope that will tell you how steep that line is I just drawn. And also we can answer some more questions about that line. Is it a positive slope? Is it a negative slope? Is it zero slope? Is it undefined? Let's look and let's figure that out. I've drawn 3 different lines here, okay? So I'm going to point to, say, the first line. We're not telling you what is the calculation of the slope, just what does the picture look like here. So this line is sloping downward. So it means it's going down. That means this is a negative slope, okay? Negative steepness, negative slope, okay? Negative, okay? So when it is going upward, like here, going up, that means it is, nope, that's still going down. So let's look at the other side is going up. That one is going up. These two are both negative. How can you determine that? How do you know? You're reading, in other words, you're reading from left to right. Let me erase that so it won't be confusing. You're reading from left to right. So if you're leading from left to right, then you know here, this particular slope here is going downward. Sometimes I'll draw a line like this, and I'll say, okay, if you can draw a little slide where you going up the slide and you're gonna slide down, that slope here is negative. Okay, because you're going down a slide, right? But if you're going up a hill, let's say you're walking up a hill, and you go here, and you're going up a hill. That means you're going upwards, and you're walking up. That means that going, reading from left to right, that means this is a positive. Okay, now let's look at our picture. Let me erase that. Okay. So we know here, this is going downward. So this particular line here, since you're going down like a slide, is your negative. This on the other side is your positive. So we're not calculating what is the degree of slope or what exactly is the answer. We're just indicating which is which. What's a negative slope? What's a positive slope? Because this will be on the test. Also, another thing is zero slope. Let's see if this line here is your line straight across there. That's a straight line, right? So, does that line have any steepness to it? Is it going up at all? Is it going down? Or is it just straight across? That means this one is zero slope here. Zero slope because there's no steepness. It's joined straight across. So if they ask you, this is a zero slope. What about if you graph it like this? If the line or the graph looks like this. Let me see where you can see the actual line. Let's see the tree right here. So what is the slope of that line in the tree? That terminology is undefined. That slope is undefined, okay? So we know slope means what? Steepness. What else do we know about slope? It means the change in y over the change in x, okay? So sometimes when you're looking at the formula for slope here, and it's the change in y over the change in x, this is the formula right here. Y, that means a change in y, y2 minus y1, change in y, over the change in x, x2 minus x1, okay? So you're looking at x and y as coordinates. So if you had a graph here, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. So you would find a coordinate, and from that coordinate, you know what your x and y is. In other words, you have to have two coordinates. You need two of them in order to find the slope, because it takes 2 points to make a line, right? Okay. So just this part of the video, we've looked at what is slope. So we know slope is steepness, simply, steepness. That means slope, okay? Slope is how steep something is, okay? If you're looking and you're reading in your test, sometimes they may say, find the rate of change. Rate of change. When they say that in one of your problems, that's the same as slope. You're doing the same thing when you're finding the rate of change. That just simply means slope. They just said rate of change. Or sometimes in the instruction, they may say, what is the change in y over the change in x? That is the same as slope, okay? So those are the different vocabulary words. You're talking about steepness, rate of change, change in y over the change in x. So in summary, we've learned what is slope. Slope is simply a change in y over change in x, how steep something is, what is the rate of change. So we've indicated that slope, you have to have a line first to find the slope. It has to encompass a line. A line is 2 points, make a line. So you have to determine whether the line represents a positive slope, a negative slope, or no slope at all. So if we look here at this particular line here, it's pointing downward. If you're reading left to right, that means that's a negative slope. This line here is pointing upwards. You're reading left to right, that's a positive slope, a positive steepness. And this line is a straight line. It's slanted a little bit. So since I didn't draw it exactly straight and slanting a little upward, it's a positive slope. But if I were to just draw a straight line that's just straight line, that means that slope is 0 slope. Last but not least, a vertical line like this, straight down, that is called undefined. That's an undefined slope, okay? Undefined. I'm gonna write over that. I'm gonna erase this real quick. And I will write undefined. Okay, so that is basically the vocabulary that we need to know when we start trying to figure out the lessons having to do with linear equations. Okay?